Right. Hi everyone, Steve Brown from Swansea Business Marketing, and this evening I've very glad to have Neil Stewart on the line from Private Property Buyers .net, and tonight we're going to be talking to Neil regarding property refurbishment. So first of all, good evening, Neil.
Good evening, Steve. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So Neil, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, this question. Let's just say I'm coming into I've come along to one of your meetings and I understand, that I want to invest some money in property. But the thing I'm terrified of is they make it look so easy on TV when they seem to buy a house for X amount of pounds, rip it apart, spend 5,000 quid, make £20,000, and they're happy as Larry. And I know that's not going to happen to me. I'm going to hit all kinds of problems. So how do you help people who are just starting out, just getting into this? How can you help them out when it comes to the refurbishment and worrying about that side of buying a property?
Okay, well, you notice that on these refurbishment programs that they always go over budget, don't you? There's
That's
always,
right.
I've budgeted £10,000, but then when they come back to them, they kind of, oh, well, I spent a little bit more than that. But what we try and do is, because we're doing the kind of refurb we're doing is something we've been doing for years, and it's the same refurb. We have a formula in place, a system in place, that we can get the actual cost of the refurbs very similar for each property. So we do try and get a fixed price. There's always the odd something that comes up, as you know, but not anywhere near as bad as you see on the programs on the TV.
Right.
We'll get one of our builders that we use. They're very good. They're used to these kind of projects, and they'll give us a good quote.
Right. So you're saying, so you've already got a team in place, so I don't have to worry about getting the right tradesman or anything like that?
Absolutely. We have a complete, what we call a power team, right the way through from the electricians, plumbers, general builders, even solicitors, accountants, and even brokers for your mortgage if you need one.
All right. So if I actually said, so if I come along to the club then, and I was talking to you at one of these meetings, and I said, okay, so I've got, I've been left £50,000 by my father or something, and I fancy having a go at the property investment because I don't want to put it in the bank and I don't want to do all the usual stuff. And I understand there's risk, all properties, can go up and down in value, etc. So what would the stages be? How would you actually help me with that then? I'm coming to you for advice. What steps would we take?
Okay, before we did anything, we'd have to have a good chat about what it is you want to do. Some people are comfortable with what you might call armchair investing, so they're quite happy for you to do all the work, just keep them informed. They don't actually physically. Some people don't even see the properties; that they just want to see the income from the properties or the capital appreciation. Other people like to come and touch and feel the property and see it. So it really depends on what level you are at, where you want to go along and see the property, see what we're doing, come on board. We're quite happy to take people along every step of the way, hold their hand. Or you have some people who just say, well, okay, I'm going to give you this amount of money and I would like a return of X. And if we can achieve that, then we'll do it.
Right. So I can actually have as much or as little involvement as I like when it comes to my property portfolio then.
Absolutely. What we tend to find is the first one we do with people, they do tend to be quite heavily involved. They want to see the process. They want to understand the whole process. But once they've been through it once and they're comfortable with that process, then they tend to sort of say, okay, well, I understand what you're doing now. And once it's worked and we've proved it's worked, then they're quite happy.
Right. Well, you mentioned earlier you've got a formula for working out your refurbs, etc. Is that because most of the properties you go in have similar sort of problems with them?
Absolutely. We tend to have a formula. We will stick to certain types of property. We won't go for anything with structural damage or structural problems, for example. A lot of the properties we do have could be anything from a complete refurb. There could be a real pigsty inside, horrible, not been looked after at all, right the way to the to the other extent. We might just need to paint and decorate, but we won't touch anything structural, so we know we're not going to have huge bills to contend with.
Right. So what if I'm one of those people then that I like very much hands-on? So I want to buy a property. I've got lots of money. I can go out and buy the property. I've got the money to buy the property. The only thing that I'm really concerned about is I don't know any tradesmen because I'm buying the property in an area I'm not aware of, etc. Would you be able to help that type of person?
Absolutely, that's not a problem. We're quite happy for our tradesmen to pass on contacts for you for our tradesmen. People might say, why would you do that? Well, that's because we're giving them work. We're recommending them to other people, and they're really happy with that. They want constant flow of work, so we might have a project we've done and we're not ready to move on to the next one. They've got a bit of time that they've not got any work, so they're quite happy to do work for other people, and actually they prefer it if we recommend other people because they know the kind of quality of people they're going to get, or I've already explained how they work to them.
So what if, well, perhaps there's two questions in one. Do you ever get any issues with these tradesmen? And if so, who actually handles the problem if there is any issues?
If the investors asked us to look after it for them, then I'll jump in and sort it all out. Most of it, it's kind of me project managing it, so I'm in touch with the builders every day or whenever, however often is necessary. So if there is an issue, one of them can't make it to a job and it has to be dealt with, and that's something I'll jump in with. If the investor's more experienced and they're happy to deal direct, that's fine. But again, if they're not getting any luck with the builder, then they can always come back to me and I can try and sort things out for them.
Well, that's great news. So, okay then. So, if somebody wanted to progress this further, how do they, what's the first contact? How do they get in touch with you? How do they become involved?
To get involved with me, they can go to the privatepropertybuyers.net website, drop us an email, or the telephone numbers on there as well, and we can sort of arrange a meeting, have a chat, and find out what it is they want.
Okay. Well, Neil, I want to thank you very much for your time again and for sharing your knowledge on property investments with us. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.